Welcome to Pretoria Prime. On December 5th, 2025, Judging Freedom aired a searing Intel Roundtable with Larry Johnson and Ray McGovern, a broadcast that begins with Judge Napolitano accusing the U.S. Secretary of Defense of war crimes and unfolds into a harrowing expose of shadow command, virtual battlefields, and vanishing accountability. When you strip away the punditry and the talking points, the conversation on December 5th landed on a brutal, simple truth. When the battlefield stretches into classified conference rooms and encrypted feeds, oversight withers and accountability dies. Napolitano, Johnson, and McGovern were right to drive that point home. They documented how a strike that left men floating in the water was watched live from air-conditioned command centers, how SOCOM and JSOC operate through parallel hierarchies closely wired to the CIA, and how labels like narco-terrorist can be used to paper over the legal thresholds that ordinarily restrain lethal force. Andrew asked the exact institutional question, is he cleared for these communications? And Jim told Congress, in a voice that still echoes, Admiral Bradley has a storied career and he has my respect, and he should have the respect of all of us. But what I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. Two individuals in clear distress were killed by the United States. Those are not rhetorical flourishes, they are the scaffold of a legal argument. The DoD manual forbids attacking shipwrecked persons. Rules of engagement require imminent threat. Larry and Ray were right to point out the operational mechanics, civets, kill TV, live feeds, recorded Hellfire strikes, and to trace a through line back to post-9/11 legal shifts that normalized extraordinary measures. They also exposed contradictions that demand interrogation. Pete proclaimed, "We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. And yet senior officials turn to the fog of war as a shield when confronted with footage of survivors. That posture, inflate authority, then invoke ambiguity, is precisely what lets an opaque chain of command become a firewall against accountability. Where Napolitano, Johnson, and McGovern could have pushed harder was on the realistic remedies. What specific statutory or judicial paths can pierce the bigot list and classified communication channels that keep Congress blind? They sketched the problem brilliantly. They could have mapped the concrete routes for redress. History keeps showing us the pattern. After trauma or crisis, emergency authorities calcify into precedent. Pat Tillman's death and the subsequent institutional shielding were raised for good reason. The post-9/11 expansion of extrajudicial tactics is the antecedent to today's normalization. Call those comparisons allegations of pattern, not accusations of identical intent, and then ask the urgent questions we must. Why again does secrecy concentrate decision-making where no independent body can verify legality? Who benefits from a system that converts labels into licenses? Who controls the silence when the visual record is sequestered behind clearance lists? The stakes are not hypothetical. When decision rooms are encrypted and evidentiary standards can be suspended by euphemism, the rule of law is not merely eroded, it is engineered out of the process. The central picture this show painted is chillingly clear. The apparatus exists to allow lethal force to be applied at a remove from meaningful oversight. When that happens, democracy has no effective mechanism to speak for the dead. If we accept that, then the only honest question becomes operational. Will Congress grow the backbone Jim demanded? Will the judiciary find its way into sealed channels? And will the public insist that the labels used to justify killing be subject to lawful scrutiny? Until those answers are yes, the battlefield will keep extending into classified silence, and accountability will keep slipping away. That's it, my friends. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. You can find more content on my Spotify and on YouTube under the handle @Pretoria Prime. Until we meet again, this was Scipio Americanus of Pretoria Prime News.